think you're gonna.
The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.
Pow. What's up, guys? Okay, another day together. It's today we're gonna acknowledge the fallen heroes who have gave their lives for our freedom. Thanks for everybody showing up. 51 people in the chat. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm always late. One day I'm gonna be late for my own funeral. New York Dad, I see you. What's up? Boston J, my moderator, Live and Let Live. Don Berlin, how are you? Don, thank you for that video, that intro yesterday. I appreciate it. I was going to play it again today, but I don't know. I played it yesterday. I think everyone knows Miss Can't Be Wrong. Hi, how are you? Gerard, G Max, how are you? Leon Swan, Gunslinger, Stormy Rivers. Thanks for showing up today. Well, hopefully today we could get a few people that come on board, people who served our country, some vets, and talk about what today means for them. Roderick Molina, Brad R., get the show on the road. How about putting a show on the road, going across country with the show? That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that soon. Go cross country. What do you think, guys? Meet people along the way. Yo mama, what's up, yo mama? Robert West, hi, how are you? This can't be wrong. Jimmy, I dropped the link to that video, that Don Berlin's intro in FBS chat. Hopefully people viewed it. Okay, thank you. Miss Can't Be Wrong, I appreciate it. East Coast Andy, how are you? Nicholas. Well, you know what? Look, I've been on YouTube for over a year, about 13 months now. And I got a huge chip on my shoulder sometimes. I really do. You know, I have this drive where I want to be successful. I want to help anybody I can. And life, as you're doing it, there's always interruptions. So I realize, you know what? It's always about someone else, you know, and that's what I want to push, you know. People that succeed in life have a need for greater things, and it ain't about them. It's got to be about someone else, and it's got to be about you guys out there, you know, people who served our country, people who gave us this freedom that we have. You know, we have the most freedom on this whole planet. No one has the freedoms we have, and a lot of us take advantage of our freedoms because of these laws that these politicians make, and then they override them and they want to keep on abusing them. But today we acknowledge the people who served this country and died for this country for the freedoms that we have today. You are successful. You are a successful survivor story. God bless. Neil S., thank you. Pazzo, I see you. How's everything? Tracy Horn, public service is rewarding. Yes, at times it is. Gerard, my guy Gerard. Gerard is a vet. Don Berlin is a vet. Let me drop a link and let me get this show on the road, guys. Let's see what how everyone's doing out there. I dropped a link. Chatting with Stacks, I see you. T, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. If there's any vets out there, come on in. Let me know what today means for you. Don Sanchez, thank you, Jimmy, for giving back wisdom to the young folks, including girls who are in the streets too. Yes, especially these young kids who are joining gangs and thinking that the streets are cool. Hi, Jim. You look handsome as ever. Thank you so much. Eddie G. My boy Eddie G. Gaetano Bracco. Why aren't you getting alerts? You're not getting alerts because I guess you might need to hit the bell. Okay, so here's to the vets over here. I have Eddie G and I have Gerard. So let's give applause for these two guys that serve this country. Gerard,
hey.
Eddie G.
What's up, pal?
How are you?
I'm good.
Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Hey, so you two guys are vets. What does today mean for you guys?
For me, it's those are the real heroes. You know, we made it home. The guys who didn't make it home, where we leave our brothers with their body parts laying in foreign lands, those are the real heroes. That's how I feel. That's how I look upon it. You know, they get called to action, they get called to duty, and they never come home. So in my heart, I think that's more important than Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Those are the real heroes in Arlington.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's sort of like saying, I don't mean to disparage anybody who uses the common term happy Memorial Day. But that would almost be, if you think about it, if you would say happy Memorial Day to all the cops killed in the line of duty. You know, I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know, there's a kid called Matthew England who was killed in action. A nice kid. And I think of him every Memorial Day. I was just out and I visited the grave of a guy named Conlon, who was a young man who was massacred in Korea. And I researched him, and his name was Owen Conlon, and I put him on my channel. His gravestone is not far from, just a few paces from my house, as I live next to a cemetery. So I think of those guys, and like Eddie G just said, there's a lot of people who never came back. And you know so what? It's a sobering, I don't know, sobering day for me, and it's a heartfelt day for anyone who's a vet.
And especially when you're serving and you've been there, you know, I mean, it could have happened to anybody that was serving. I mean, no one could have came back, you know, and you know, you're blessed to be one that came back.
Well, I was never in a combat zone. but many of my friends were. So I can't say that I met the white elephant, but nevertheless, there was, being in the Marine Corps. Uh, if the bell rang, I would have been there, but it just wasn't my time. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm a combat vet, but
Sure.
I was an infantry grunt officer, and there are a lot of people I know that were killed.
And when
You
you
know, you know what I think about? I think about those guys in Iraq last August, in Afghanistan, how they go just to escort the rest of our boys home, and they have the Taliban blow 13 of them up when we're supposed to be stifled. It was just a peacekeeping sort of mission just to get our troops out and escort our civilians out. How we left Afghanistan is despicable to me. That's how I felt. I felt sick to my stomach. We got 13 people. I believe the number was 13. A couple of Navy corpsmen, a couple of Marines, a couple of Army personnel, and I don't know. I think about them this year, this Memorial Day.
Yeah, yeah.
got Don Berlin over here. Don, do you hear me? Don.
Yeah, yeah, I know you can't see me, but can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I apologize to everybody. I'm once again suffering from the technological deficiencies of my equipment because they don't. I'm on my DoD phone. So thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you, Jimmy, for allowing me and Colonel Edward Greeley to do the film for you yesterday. It was a work of love and also something both of us enjoyed, doing. I wish I could take credit for it, but the reality is that while I wrote it and my voiceover was there, Ed actually my wingman Ed really actually did the work, and most of the ideas that I came up with really were not my ideas. I got a lot of them from Gerard, who I listened to a lot and inspired me, and he's my wingman. So God bless him for giving me some of the ideas and what have you. One thing I do want to just make clear. So I'm not a veteran. I'm active duty, and that basically, a lot of kids come up to me, and if I can just share this for just a few moments. So on your channel and other platforms or whatever, I get, tons of emails and messages and whatever about, the differences between where, Eddie G served and Gerard served. They were in the COCOMs. They were active duty service persons. They're veterans. So where I am is on the other side of the house, which is the DOD side or the IC side. So the difference is that that we support and we enable the COCOMs. The COCOMs are like the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, Navy, and so on and so forth. The DOD side, my side, or the IC side, I'm not going to get into what I do. I don't do that, so I apologize. But we're the active duty people who support them. We're on the civilian side, and there are different types of people who serve on that side. So so I just want to just be clear about that. I'm not a veteran. I'm on the other side of the house, the DOD IC side. To answer your other question, I agree with Eddie G, whom I love. He's one of my heroes. So it's really, Memorial Day is all about the people who paid the supreme sacrifice. It's about those noble warriors that went into combat with all of their heart and all of their soul in their hands, seeking to execute a mission that was given to them by their commander. And they executed that mission with one thing and one thing in mind, and that is to carry out an order, without regard to what might happen to them. And through one thing or another, they paid the supreme sacrifice. Those are the people who you see carry down the ramp in Dover, Delaware. Those are the people who you see in the national cemeteries, Quantico, Arlington, Bull Run, and so on and so forth. They are really, the true heroes in my mind. So I kind of like am like with Eddie G. I love Veterans Day, but I'm humbled by Memorial Day.
Don, thank you for that video, and tell Colonel Edward Relay I said thank you. If he's watching, thank you, Ed. I appreciate it.
You could tell
Yeah,
Don works for the DOD. He's in Black Ops right now. That's why he can't show his face.
Eddie, relax yourself. Relax yourself.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Otherwise, a JDAM may come your way when you least expect it, and are most deserving of it. But I enjoy what I do. I just don't talk about it. And but for young people today, listen. This is my message to the people that one guy, his name was Tim. I'll read you his note briefly. He came off of your Jimmy, your channel, your platform. He says, Don, I want to serve so badly. I got a record. I used to use drugs, but I've been sober for 5 years. I went to Army recruiting, and then I went to the Marine Corps recruiting to try to volunteer, but now I'm too old and they won't take me. What can I do to help serve my country? Okay. So I'm not going to give the guy's real name, but he watches this channel a lot. And my answer to him, and my answer to everybody who's watching tonight, you can serve. You can turn your life around. Just because you have a past, that doesn't mean that it's an unforgiving past. Okay. We are a Judeo-Christian society. Inculcated into our DNA is forgiveness, is reconciliation, is resolution, and what have you. The government, when they give out national security clearances, don't look at a single instance in your life. They look at the whole person. They evaluate the whole person. And there are places for you. Let me just tell you a short story, if I may. It goes along with what Eddie G was talking about in Afghanistan. So I was at Bagram Air Force Base, and a young kid, he was 28, okay? Been sober for 5 or 6 years, something like that. And he finally came in as a contractor. He couldn't make it in the Marines. The Air Force wouldn't take him. So he decided to join up as a contractor. And he wanted to be someone that was going to be a medic, but he couldn't, he didn't have enough training. So he started out being nothing more than a guy that took care of the patients in the triage rooms at Bagram Air Force Base. But he had a skill. And his skill was he was a fantastic artist. Jimmy, just like that guy that you got that does your posters, the one behind you. He had a gift, okay? Just like that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, him. Okay. So what did this guy do? He decided that his mission was, I tell the story. His mission was that he was going to paint an American flag on the ceiling of every ICU bed, so that when the soldier woke up from a coma, when he opened up his eyes and could see that he was still alive, the thing that he would see first was the American flag, and that he was going to come home. That was his service, okay? And then he went on and became a medic in the Army. And then after that, he went back to school and became a physician's assistant, and then finally got out of the Army. So my only point of the story is that, yeah, the veterans do serve, no question, and we all serve. But for those people who are looking to serve and think that they can't for whatever reason, there's a place for you. There's a way to get in. There's a way to participate. There's a way to give back to your country that you may not even be aware of. So just keep that in mind.
Good stuff.
Let me see. I got another guy here, Stephen Federico. Let me see what he has to say. Hey,
Jim,
Steve.
how are you? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Pleasure to meet all of you guys. Pleasure to meet you and actually talk to you for the first time, Jim. I know I had sent you some stuff email-wise. Former Marine. I was a combat veteran. I went over in Beirut, Lebanon. I was with 2nd Force Reconnaissance. And after I got out of there, I became a police officer in New York. I worked narcotics undercover with a federal drug task force for about 15 years. I did a 20-year career. Now I currently live in Florida. I'm semi-retired. Still got a little bit of my sanity, but I have a lot of similar. Even though I'm from the upstate area, I'm not from down in New York City. I have some similar experiences. One story that kind of ties into the Marine Corps and also at the same time kind of ties into organized crime. Recently, there was a guy in the paper. His name is Dominic Taddeo. I don't know if you read about it at all. He escaped from federal custody.
Oh, yeah, I did read about that.
Yeah. Well, he was down here in Florida. I was unaware of that. But many, many years ago, Dominic Taddeo was up in my neck of the woods. And I'll tell you a story. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. I grew up, one of his victims was a guy named Dino Tortesi. It's one of the people he killed. Dino had a younger brother, Rocco, who I went to school with. We had an ongoing war with each other. We hated each other. He hated me. I hated him. But his brother Dino always wanted to be a wise guy, always wanted to be a good fella. And so he kind of got recruited by these guys called the Terrible T's, Tommy Torpy and Tommy Taylor. Well, they just abused him is what they did. They just pushed him around. He was an errand boy. He was a flunky. They beat him up. We were walking down the street one time past the Handlebar, it was called, on Clifford Avenue. And we saw him get thrown out the front door into the street. And they just, I mean, if you ever saw a picture of Tom Taylor, we saw him get thrown out the front door into the street. Tom Taylor was about 6'4". He had to go about 260 pounds. There wasn't a drop of fat on him. And they were vicious. But anyways, Dominic Taddeo picked Dino to do a hit on a guy named Tommy Murata. And Tommy Murata was he was big in the local mob. Actually, Michael Francesi, when he came into our area to do one of his talks, he was familiar with Tommy and had done business with him. But they told Dino, when you do the hit, use a 22. Now, what they meant was a 22 handgun to get up right on him, put it right to his head, and pull the trigger because it doesn't make a lot of noise and it does a lot of damage. Well, Dino, being the brain surgeon that he was, went out and got a 22 long rifle, and he tried to play sniper from about 300 feet away. He hit Tommy 2 or 3 times, but Tommy was so big, and I mean, it's a 22, he didn't kill him. And Tommy ran back into his apartment. Well, about a week later, somebody told Dino, Tommy knows you tried to hit him. You better get out of town, man. He's going to kill you. And I ain't worried about him. He ain't nothing. So 2-3 weeks later, my buddies are in front of Dino's house. It's summertime, playing a little football, drinking some beers, hanging out in the street. A car rolls up. Now, if you ever seen a picture of Dominic Taddeo, he doesn't look like anything to be afraid of. Kind of a pudgy guy, glasses, nerdy kind of voice. He rolls up, he rolls down his car window, and Dino is standing on his stoop drinking a beer. And he's like, excuse me. He said, are you Dino Tortesi? And Dino takes one look at the guy and goes, yeah, what of it? And starts to walk off his stoop. My buddy said, Taddeo got out of the car. He had a 44 Bulldog, which is a vicious gun. Everybody starts scrambling. Dino tries to dive underneath a car to hide. My buddy said Dominic Taddeo walked up to him, put his foot on the back of his leg to hold him in place, bent down, put the gun right to his ass, and unloaded a 44 mag into his butt. Very
That hurt.
calmly.
That definitely had to
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah, it left a scar.
Yeah.
He very calmly walks away and he looks at my buddies and he says, "You didn't see anything, did you, boys?" Gets in the car and drives away. And I mean, that's my. Now I knew about this because at the time I was in Beirut, Lebanon. One of my buddies mailed me the newspaper story, and then wrote me a letter telling the story. Says, "Man, I was there. This guy was cold-blooded. He just nailed him right in the middle of the street. Didn't even break a sweat. Didn't even care."
Hey, Steve. This is Don. Let me ask you a question. So, going back to your original story, like when you were with NYPD, did you go into the Marines before or after your service with NYPD?
I went in the Marines first. I was in the Marine Corps from '82 to '85.
Yeah.
After I got out, I became first. I became a sheriff's deputy in '88.
Right.
From '88, I went to the city. From the city, I went to a federal drug task force, which was called the Multi-Agency Drug Task Force. And what we did is cover the East Coast. And the reason it was we had to be federal is because you can't leave the state if you don't have federal authority. You can't enforce law outside.
So a lot of the people that I know, from JTTF, the Joint Terrorism Task Force in New York, and a lot of those guys came out of the drug units, the DEA drug units, and a lot of them were very heavily invested in Afghanistan because, our mission there, especially down in the south near Kandahar and what have you, all was about drug interdiction and what have you. So I ran into a lot of New York City cops that then went to the JTTF, then they went to Afghanistan, and then, and came back and what have you. But, I'll tell you, when I did the film, I talked about, people such as yourself who serve, in not only the Marine Corps, but also as a first responder, because I've always believed that, especially on Veterans Day, or Memorial Day too, how many hundreds of New York City firemen and policemen gave their lives on 9/11 that sent us into Afghanistan. Hundreds never came home. Hundreds went into those buildings and never came out, not just once, but multiple times. All of them put on their uniform, just like you, Steve, put on your uniform, strapped up your boots, went out, to protect the people and what have you, and never came home.
I'm going to tell you a real interesting thing about 9/11.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was working the day 9/11 occurred. Things have changed. I mean, I've been off the job for 12 years now. But at the time, we had a computer in our car called an MDT. The dispatcher sends a message to all the cars. An airplane has just struck the World Trade Center.
Right.
And, everybody, of course, was in shock. Another message comes within a minute. A second plane has just struck the other tower of the World Trade Center. And she writes, "What a tragedy." I got on the MDT and I wrote back, "That is not a tragedy. That is an act of terrorism."
Yeah, right.
I knew before anything else came out, I says, "There's no way in hell that is an accident. That is not an accident. That is an intentional act, and it's an act of terrorism." And lo and behold, I ain't a prophet, that's for sure, but lo and behold, it was a major act of terrorism. The pilots were actually trained down here in Florida where I live now. It's where they got their training. So, but I was in Beirut when they blew up the battalion building. Maybe some of you don't remember it. Jimmy, you're probably old enough to remember it. It was 1983.
1983, yeah.
They blew up the Marine
Yeah.
barracks. And another interesting story there, I was down there at the Marine barracks temporarily. I was being punished because I popped off to a lieutenant and I basically called him a coward. So for my punishment, I got sent down there. The Sunday prior to the bombing, the truck rolls in. The truck bombers.
Yeah.
What they used to do is they delivered.
Yeah.
They came every Sunday. The Marines had a cookout. They had a picnic, hot dogs, hamburgers, and the bombers were bringing a truck, and they had the watermelon, and they had the hamburger, or they had all the fruit and the buns and all that. One of them says to me, "Where are all the Marines?" And I just looked at him and I said, "I don't know why." And the guy that's with me goes, they all sleep in on Sunday. They say sleep in. I says, "Hey, what are you, stupid? I don't tell these guys what we do." And the guy says, "They're cool. They're here every Sunday. They deliver the watermelon and the food and everything. They're fine." That was my last Sunday there. I got sent back to my unit.
I'm really intimately familiar with that particular event, only because the movie, if anybody ever wants to see a great movie, it's long, it's an old movie now, but if you go back on YouTube, go look at the movie Syriana, Syriana. Syriana is based upon a colleague of mine's life, Robert Baer, who used to be the chief of worldwide Hezbollah he was the chief of worldwide operations for Hezbollah operation for the agency.
Yeah.
And
You there, Don?
I think we lost him.
Don, you there?
So, sir, did you know Lieutenant Colonel McGarity?
Yes.
Yeah. It's an excellent movie. Talks about,
I'm losing you, Don.
And that particular bombing.
Don,
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Coming in and out.
How about now? Can you
I
hear
hear
me?
you. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So what I was saying about the event was that there's an excellent movie called Syriana, and Syriana, which won the Academy Award by George Clooney, is based on a colleague of mine's life by the name of Robert Baer, who was the chief of worldwide Hezbollah operations.
I know Robert Baer.
That movie discussed. Yeah. So he's a good guy, and
he is.
And it's interesting how that movie was done. Most of that movie was actually filmed up in Silverton, Colorado, up in the mountains near where Bob had a house at one time before he moved back here to Washington. And it's a really great movie. It's a very, very tragic event, to say the least, especially for all those who were killed and what have you. But all bombings and what have you, all of them are tragic.
Oh yeah,
So,
you don't hear too much talk about it. The guy who gathered the intelligence was an old man named Shuffles. I met Shuffles when I first got over. He had a little stand. He used to sell, ice cream and he'd develop your film for you. And he was down at a battalion. And I used to tell guys all the time, don't give him your film. You don't know who he is. You don't know who he is. Sure enough, who was their inside man? Shuffles. He was taking pictures of the inside of battalion. He was taking the Marines' photographs of the interior of the building. He was giving it back to Hezbollah so they knew the layout. He was taking the pictures of the area outside, external photographs. There's two stories about what happened to Shuffles. I don't know which one is true. Number one was Hezbollah blew him up inside the building just to get rid of him, so they didn't have to worry about a leak. They didn't have to worry about him getting nailed and being interrogated. Number two, he went on vacation. Right before the bombing, said he was going to visit his family in the mountains and that he would be back the following week. I don't know which story is true. I don't know whatever happened to the guy, but I told this guy.
I can tell you that neither of those scenarios is the reality.
Okay.
I can't tell you the third, but neither of those are the reality. The main person who ran the Hezbollah and also the Beirut investigation was Claire George. Claire George was the DDO, and they did find the answer as to what happened to that guy.
Okay.
So anyway, but
well, I hope he died a very painful death.
Yeah.
I hope he died a very painful, slow death. That's all.
I just also want to just say something to Gerard. Thank you so much for all of your words of wisdom. Thank you for everything that you told me and guided me and what have you. I really appreciate it. And you're a friend indeed. I met a lot of really neat people, Jimmy, on this platform. Really, neat people and what have you. And obviously there's going to be in every circumstance the minority that are not very nice people, but by and large, they're really neat people. And I think the reason why, Jimmy, is because healthy people attract healthy people, and sick people attract sick people. And because you're much more healthier these days, you're attracting a lot of healthy people. That's my theory. Honest to God.
Thank you, Don.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't. I had sent Jimmy an email. I don't know if you saw it. It was a kind of a lengthy one I sent to you not too long ago. And I'm not going to get into what it was here because I don't want to contribute any more to the nonsense that was going on a few days ago. But it is true that the bigger and the more notoriety that you obtain, people are just jealous. They're just jealous of success, and they hate the fact that you got things right. There's always somebody that's going to be there to tap you on the shoulder and say, yeah, but I remember when. But the key thing is, yeah, you remember when. That's not me now. That was me yesterday. You can talk about yesterday all you want, and I can't change it. But all I know is who I am today and what I'm doing today.
Yeah, Steve, one of the things I wanted to touch on when I wrote that piece that Jimmy broadcasted yesterday. I hope he broadcasts it again so people can.
I can actually broadcast it right now if you want, Don.
Go ahead and do it.
I'm going to broadcast it, okay?
All right,
okay, guys, here we go. Here we go.
Hi, friends. This is the showrunner for Jimmy Calandra's Beth Avenue story. Allow me a few moments to share some thoughts as we give thanks this Memorial Day weekend. On Monday, we celebrate all who keep America safe, to our veterans, to those in harm's way, and are actively serving in the armed forces at all corners of the world. To our first responders, the police, the fire, and the emergency service personnel, not just here in New York, but throughout America. We pray for you. We celebrate your service. We mourn for the dearly departed who paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we may be free. Throughout the last several months, the Bath Avenue Story platform has evolved as Jimmy Calandra's life has evolved and changed. In part, this is because Jimmy, like so many others who are his loyal followers, have worked hard to turn their lives around, having come back from unspeakable tragedy and sadness, as well as personal struggle and traumatic experiences from early on in life. Many of you have shared your personal stories on this very platform. And for Jimmy, his change and amends occurred by seeking redemption. But with change also come the attraction of certain elements that I shall refer to only as the evil YouTube wotard crazies that seek to destroy Jim, his family of followers, and this platform. Why is it that with great comeback stories come grave peril? Why? Many people today have become more and more disconnected and disjointed as a result of violence in our communities, the isolation caused by the COVID pandemic, and an endless litany of leftist policies that tear at the fabric of traditional families and America's core values and inner soul. For some, the result has been a twisted need to displace pent-up anger and hatred directed at anyone seeking resolution and reconciliation. Plainly stated, good versus equal, change versus a return to death in the streets. And so here is Jimmy's message to you, the Calandra family of followers. To all of Jimmy's friends and followers who have likewise turned their lives around and achieved great heights, we all have a huge responsibility to God and to our friends and family. Stay the course. Stay on the straight and narrow path. Stay strong and stay clean. Trust in God and your higher power, whatever that might be. Have faith in yourself and all that you hold dear, the families and friends that you love and who love you. On this Memorial Day weekend, God bless each and every one of you, whether you are with us or not. And most importantly of all, God bless America. And now, please sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Yeah.
good.
So, yeah. So, what to answer your original question, Steve? Like why, why the haters and what have you. So, what I was trying to capture and talk about in this film presentation was, the underlying reasons behind what a lot of people are doing on many YouTube platforms and what have you, all of the hatred and so on and so forth. And here's what I think, okay, for whatever it may be worth, and others can express their own opinion. But a lot of this relates to people who suffer from depression. And what is depression? Depression is anger turned inward. And then a lot of these people that suffer from depression also have concomitant with depression, drug addiction, alcoholism, which makes depression even worse. It's untreated. And so instead of being able to look at themselves and say, I'm an angry person at myself for doing what I've done to myself, instead of holding up the mirror to themselves, they instead look outward. They blame outward. They rail
Projection.
and they rage at others.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
call
I
it
think a lot
projection.
of this is.
I project my negativity that really is coming from within me. I project it to you, on you.
Yeah.
You're my
Yeah.
problem. And really,
Yeah.
you're not my problem. I'm my problem.
Yeah.
But I project it onto you. But I also think that there is, I guess for lack of a better term, YouTube and YouTube channel people, there is a business side of the house. And I think there's a competitive spirit. There's nothing wrong with having a competitive spirit,
Right.
but it becomes malicious sometimes
Right.
because there are guys like Jimmy, or guys who want to fancy themselves or create a past for themselves, a
Right.
fictitious past, so they can
Right.
seem like they are like Jimmy, and it's not working for them. because it's not genuine, it's not real. And people pick up on it real quick, and then all of a sudden what they do is it's time to attack Jimmy because Jimmy's well known. So if I take shots at Jimmy, I know I'm going to get some views. All I got to do is throw his name on my thumbnail with some sort of inside scam I got on him, and hopefully I'm going to get some views, even though it's BS.
Yeah, but you know something, Steve? Let me tell you what the reality is, because my world is all about analytics and data and the zeros and the ones. Let me just tell you what the reality is, and this is the part that's insane. Okay, and this is the part that when I said in the video about the crazies, what they don't understand, and they don't appreciate is the fact that the more that they throw these hateful comments towards Jimmy, the richer he gets.
Yes.
You know? And the reason is because his viewers go up. His likes go up. His views goes up. Okay. So in an ironic kind of a way, all right, what makes no sense is that if you're going to try to destroy this platform that I know that a lot of people have worked very hard on building, but principally Jimmy, okay, the way not to do it is to cast, hateful comments, because why? That just drives up the numbers and makes Jimmy richer. That's all it does. Okay. I mean, I hope that's why I love all of these haters and crazy people and what have you, because all they do is make my friend richer. That's all they're doing. Okay. What is damaging to a platform, ironically, is when there's silence, when they don't talk about Jimmy, when they don't have anything to say about him, okay? Because that drives down the numbers. That's the ironic part, So as Jimmy says, he was saying the other night, come here, I love you. All you're doing by what you're doing is making my life better.
Oh yeah, if they're talking about you, you're doing something.
Yeah.
If they're talking about you, you're doing something.
Right.
Let me let me put a perspective on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the thing is, look, this is what it comes down to. Okay, it's definitely jealousy.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? Look,
right.
Back in the day, listen, I was a bad guy. Growing up, I looked up to the wrong people, and I didn't know what a nice person was growing up. And then I ended up doing some time, and I grew up. I really did. I grew up. I said, you know what? This is not a life where I want to spend the rest of my life in this prison.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck on this indictment with a bunch of scumbags. Okay, seriously. Okay, I'm 29, 30 years old. So you know what? I'm surrounded by scumbags. I just left a whole bunch of scumbags. Seriously. Okay?
Right.
My back's against the wall, and I'm defeated. Okay, no lie, I'm defeated.
Right.
And you know what? I was involved in a mess. I got myself mixed up in a mess. And this is my message to the kids. Okay? One wrong mistake could cost you your life. And that's what it did to me. And that's what it did to me. Okay? Because you know what? I thought I knew it all. Okay? I had no direction. Okay? I went the wrong way. I got mixed up with a mess. A whole mess I got mixed up with. And you know what? Someone gave me an opportunity to say, you know what, Jimmy? Look at the big picture, okay? You're going to see light at the end of this tunnel, okay? You know what? And the truth will set you free. And that's what I did. I cooperated with the government, and we all had a chance to make a decision. So the decision you make in your life will follow you forever. And the decision I made in my life is going to follow me forever. And a lot of people are mad that I had a brain. Okay. I said, you know what? And I say, you know what? This is not the road I want to waste my life on. Okay. I know I can do better than this, and I know I'm better than this. And you know what? And I changed my life, and I changed my bad ways. And people are mad at that. That's what it is. They're mad at that. So
there's definitely a lot of truth behind that, Jimmy. I believe you when my comments were more addressed at the business side of the insanity as opposed to your own, which are more on the personal side. But what you're saying is right. And this comes from Gerard and my world. There's an old saying, to thyself be true. You are who you are, and you ain't who you ain't. Okay? You are who you are, and you ain't who you ain't. To thine own self be true.
That's actually
And
Shakespeare.
people don't like that. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. They don't like that. And
You know, you got to remember something too, Jimmy. Anytime you bring God
but the
into
bottom
it,
line is
Go ahead, guys. One at a time.
yeah, I don't want to cut him off.
Go ahead, Don.
no, go, Steve, go.
Go ahead,
I
Steve.
was just going to say, Jimmy, anytime you bring God into the conversation, you're going to get attacked. There's just no getting around that. I don't care, unless you're using his name as a curse word. You're gonna get somebody who's gonna jump on you. Oh, let me guess. So you found Jesus? Oh, is that it? Little jailhouse religion? Is that what you're trying to sell me? Not realizing that it's genuine. I'm not trying to sell tickets or anything like that. What I have is genuine, and okay, it's helped me turn my life around. And it's not only helped turn your life around, it helped me turn my life around. Because I'll tell you what, even as a police officer, man, I was so out of control as a cop with drinking and everything else that until I finally got right with God, my life was going down the toilet. And I was a cop. I wasn't okay. But my point is it don't make no difference. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay, you were on one side of the law. I was on the other side of the law. But you know what? We were both in the same shit sandwich. Okay? And it's not until you get to a bottoming out where you realize you can't do it on your own and you need to draw on strength from somewhere else that you're really going to truly turn your life around and get right and stay right and realize that there's more to life than you, and it's not jailhouse religion, and it's not maybe for some guys it is, maybe for some guys it's just a scam. They're looking to get out early, but it ain't gonna work. So don't bother trying. I've heard people say that about the son of Sam. Oh yeah, he found Jesus, so David Berkowitz knows he's not going anywhere. Berkowitz is never getting out. So I think it's genuine what happened in his life. And, but once you start doing that and you have openly, professed that before on your program, man, you're going to get guys that hate your guts just for saying that is enough for people. I had my friends, guys who I thought were my buddies, who looked at me like, are you out of your freaking mind? Man, I had one of my friends look at me one day and they said to me, Steve, I thought you were a lot smarter than that, man. You really had me fooled. And just laughed at me and turned around and walked away. Really? Really? I'm an idiot because I believe in God? But, so that's...
Sorry, folks.
That's part of the reason why you're getting attacked. And you'll continue to get attacked. It isn't going to stop. But the best advice, really, you ignore them. You ignore them because you know what? You are beyond them, and you're doing what you're doing, and people are loving it. And you keep on doing it the way you're doing it, and you're only going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. And those guys are just going to fade like a leaf. And it's like I had mentioned to you before. It's kind of like, remember when you were young and there's a kid in your neighborhood, and usually you see this kid, he don't have nothing to say to you. He hi or whatever, but he might cross the street to avoid you or what, but no problems. Then all of a sudden one day you're walking down the street and he's with 5 of his buddies. And now he's a tough guy and he wants to fight because he's got 5 of his buddies with him. And he will say anything to you to try to provoke you because he's got 5 guys behind him and he knows they're gonna kill you. It's the same thing here. I'm just going to keep needling because I'm safe behind my computer. I know you can't hurt me. So now I'm a tough guy. And if I saw you face to face, I'm saying things behind my computer that ordinarily I would never say to your face because I'm
So,
afraid I get my jaw cracked.
Eddie G, so you bring some comic relief to this. What do you think? What is your thinking about this? I mean, how?
I'd go to fucking jail if you couldn't
Wow.
listen to my thinking. Here's what I think, and I just want to steer it right back to something. This whole computer, this YouTube stuff,
Yeah.
it's a huge distraction what's going on, and it's seductive. And we'll talk about school shootings for a couple days. We'll talk about Ukraine for a couple days. But let's get back to Memorial Day, fellas. Let's get back to what
Yeah.
Don put together that film. Those legs don't grow back. Those body parts stay in foreign lands. So you'll hear a lot of chirp, chirp, chirp on social media about what we should do in Ukraine, and we're so easy to back this one and good versus evil. And I say pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. It's the people that are chanting for all this violence, they're not the ones going over there. They're
Right.
not doing it. And it's not, and it happened, and history does repeat itself. And I'm a student of history. And if you look back at our fathers or our uncles or our brothers' ages, and you see what went on in Vietnam, when they came home with their medals draped upon their chest, the protesters, once again, the protesters out there, what they were sitting upon our servicemen.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, when we look at it from a broader perspective, should we be there or shouldn't we be there? Let me tell you something from my perspective. We're not there because we want to do President Biden's bidding. We're there that we get Johnny on the left and Johnny on the right home, and they get me home. And we stay there for our brothers. When we're in country and we're doing shit like that, that's what we want to do. We want everybody home. So what pisses me off, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not soft around talking about this. I'm a little biased towards the military in a good way. People look at a news clip like it's Sports Center. They get a sound bite. Oh yeah, war in Iraq. Okay, we lost this many. What's on next? Days of our lives, and we move on to this bullshit. Meanwhile, Don said, if we want to be of service, well, take a field trip down to the monuments down in D.C. Go to Walter Reed Hospital and see some of those banged up guys that didn't come home with all their stuff that they left with. And that's what we don't sit and contemplate on. You know, if someone took your arms away, how are you eating dinner? Who's feeding?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hooks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we get uptight about this and that and a lot of drama. But the truth of the matter is, when we take a breath and we look inside and we think, if we reflect on Memorial Day, we say, wait a second, are we cheerleading for more war? So our boys and girls can lose more body parts and come home if they're lucky?
Yeah.
So I kind of say, sit back. Right now, we have a ton of shit going on in our government, not in our country, that we have no control over. And that we should start paying attention to that. I had a nice talk with my dad, and he said years ago in the neighborhood, you could have a healthy conversation about what's going on in our country. He said today, you say you're on team A or team B, and all of a sudden the conversation stops and it goes to, I don't like him, he's nuts, or they're the God squad, whatever. But the bottom line is that, we have some unity that we need to do. We need to mend. And that's the truth. We'll never survive anything in life if we don't come together. So we can draw a line in the fence and say good and evil. I think that we all have that in us. Come attack my family members. I'll show you evil.
What I hear Eddie G say in his sharing is, what are our priorities really? The haters and the screamers and the shouters. I mean, in the context of what Eddie G is talking about, in the context of what I have seen in my career of the people who have been left behind, and or come home with half their soul gone. One of the things we don't talk about, that Gerard can talk more about, but is not the people who have died on the battlefield away. It's the people who died when they come back as a result
Yeah.
of suicide, as a
Oh,
result
yeah.
of drug addiction or
Oh, yeah.
alcoholism,
Oh, yeah.
okay, as a result of depression. They've given up. You know, there's two battlefields in this war. One is in a foreign land and one is on our own soil. And when we don't take care of the vets and the heroes that keep us free, this is what happens. People would be astounded how many people, how many soldiers are killing themselves every single day.
You
And
know,
so, you know, what I hear Eddie G talking about is get your fucking priorities straight, folks. You know, realize what's important here.
I
And
will.
you know, in Memorial Day, we always focus obviously on our brethren who we left behind, but don't forget the people who have come home and have given their lives as a result of the demons that they could never let go.
And let me add this one thing too. And as we evolve and we get older, and we look back, see, when I was in the service, I wasn't 40 years old. I didn't have life experience. I wasn't seasoned. I thought I was indestructible, like most young men do. But
Right,
they're kids over there. They're
right,
18,
right,
19, young
right,
20s.
right.
They're babies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and we don't we oh the men and women are yeah, but they say that and they juice you up because when you're a young man, you want to be a man. And when
right,
you're a young woman, you want to be a woman. So
right.
they don't get to experience life. And you put somebody in a situation that isn't conducive for what goes on in your head. Don, you said two places, away and home. Here's the other battlefield in here. We
Yeah,
can't erase what we saw. Jimmy, you can't
right.
erase what you saw.
No,
It's there,
no.
man. And for
I'll
Yeah,
tell
people like
you.
me and for people who aren't like me, who have same nightmares for 30 years, how do you erase that? How do you
you
unlearn
can't.
something?
I will tell you a very
You can't.
weird.
You can't. And you know something, Eddie. You know, the when you suffer from PTSD, when you dance with the ghosts of your past, okay,
Yeah.
because you can't get rid of them. When you're haunted by the skeletons in your closet from battle, wherever you may have been, whether it's on the streets of New York, the Bath Avenue streets that Jimmy experienced, or the battlefields in foreign lands. You know, those scars are with you for your life. And here's the inspirational part about Jimmy's story that I always, I cannot forget. And it goes back to what I said about priorities. When you listen to Jimmy's story, he always goes back to what his priorities are: his children, his family, his home, his community, his friends, his people on YouTube that are his followers, his loyal followers. That's his priorities right now because of what he's gone through. And that's where he's coming from. People don't accept that. They won't
You know,
accept that. You
I'll tell
know,
you a very weird story about when I came home from Beirut. Initially, we started out as a multinational peacekeeping force. We weren't supposed to be over there fighting. We're just supposed to be, I don't know, security guards, I guess. But they came to an end after the Israeli army pulled out of the Shuf, and then we became targets. And the fighting started, and the rocketing started, and the killing started. And by the time I got back to the United States, it was maybe like the second day or whatever, and we had lost. I want to say 3/4 of our battalion were dead, and the battalion area was like a ghost town because of all the Marines that were gone. And I remember we were just walking around, kind of looking at each other because reality set in. Because I used to call it over there, it was like a sick Disneyland where you could do anything and you could get away with it. There were no laws. So you want to shoot somebody, you shoot them. You don't have to worry about going to jail. And things got very twisted. And we got back, and I'll never forget, the reality started to set into everyone's mind about what we did. And it was almost like we didn't want to talk because we couldn't talk to, we could never admit to anyone about the stuff that we did, because they would look at us like we were freaks. I couldn't talk to my friends, I couldn't talk to my family, and we didn't even want to talk to each other about it. We wanted to pretend like it never happened. But there was just such silence, and it was just so weird. That went on for quite a while, where we all, I mean, and then I came home. They let me come home on leave. I was home for about a day. What happens? I'm walking down the street, a car backfires, and I hit the ground without even thinking. And some people standing outside started laughing. And, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm screwed up. I'm screwed up.
Well,
you know,
one of the things that's compelling about that, your story and certainly the story that Eddie, talks about and Gerardo talks about as well, but also, that Jimmy comes back to often, and that is that part of the reason why he set up this platform was for a cathartic, experience to try and share with everybody what he's
Right.
going through, what he went through. Okay, it helps to talk about it. It helps to share your experience, your strength, and your hope with others, so that they can see what you've gone through. It helps to talk about it. It also helps to be of service to others. Okay, to
Yeah.
realize that you can get out of yourself for a moment in time and seek to try and do something for the better good of others. And the last thing I want to say is this: part of this process that I hear from Jimmy's sharing is his way of making amends. He can't make amends to his mother; she's gone. Okay, he can't make amends to his father. He can't even make amends to himself, because he can't change the past. Those events are over, and
yeah,
there is no walking back. All he can do is make amends for, for doing what he can do going forward. That's it. We cannot live life in a rear view mirror. We have to move forward. And so that's what this platform, as I see it, in my opinion, is all about. It's all about looking forward, helping others, making amends. Right, Jimmy?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what?
Yeah.
said,
Can I?
go ahead, Gerard.
Yeah. Thanks for all the comments, guys. They're really heartfelt to me, and I've kind of got uh, shivers running up my spine just listening to this. And I have traumatic stress to this day, and I sleep in a state of semi sleep, but I'm weirdly aware of what's going on around me as I sleep, which is really strange. Uh, and It's not combat related; it's something else. But I was attracted to Jimmy's program initially because he reminded me I could get some commonality out of what Jimmy was saying, what Don was saying, what Eddie G says. Now I'm beginning to understand Eddie G a little bit more. Appreciate those comments. Uh,
No problem.
you know, I was 33 years ago. I was ready to do myself in, and I had to go into a hospital and get some psychiatric and alcohol treatment, because I literally was going to do what a man shouldn't do. And I won't say it publicly, but um, I could just say that some people call it a bottom, um, and The reason for all that, as I later discovered, was that I was living in a fantasy world, and it took a few years to, probably 5 years, to understand who I really was, and another 20. It's been 33 years, and I've been on a wonderful journey. Uh, and a man uh, recognizes his defaults, his character. Sometimes I'm having a hard time speaking, but I recognized that I had a lot of defects of character, and the problems that were caused were partially from the outside, but um, straightening my life out and getting back on the path has been a thing of, Jimmy calls it, and I can't think of the words because now my brain's fried, redemption and salvation,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
a sense of freedom that I didn't
So,
experience. I did not
yes,
experience,
that is
and
so true, Gerard. That is so true. God bless you.
it's really hard for me to talk about this on a day like today, knowing that others, like Eddie says, were left in pieces, um, and these young kids weren't coming back,
Right, right.
and so uh, I can joke. We have moments here on Jimmy's show where we can crack jokes,
You
but
give me a green
unfortunately,
light, Gerard.
I wish you'd say something funny, please. But no, really, I just have to get this out of my system
Absolutely, bro.
because I do need some therapy right now, and I appreciate everybody whom I've met on Jimmy's channel, and I look forward to hearing good messages. I look always seek out the winners and try to surround myself with people who are, winners and who are wiser than myself. And this is what keeps me going on a daily basis. And I get a chance to say, please remove me, Lord, of my defects of character, so that I may better be of use to you and my fellow man. And when I say it that way, I'm not I'm not I'm not asking God to take these things away from me for a selfish reason. I'm asking him to do it so that I can help people like my kids or neighbors or someone I meet at the grocery store,
Sure.
keep my antenna up and never, you know, let people finish their sentences, Gerard, and don't dominate conversations. Just listen. And the spirit moves me in that respect. That's all I have.
Hey, Gerard, let me say one thing to you, brother. We're all fucking jacked up, okay? We've all had past.
Yeah.
We're all jacked up. Other motherfuckers hide it better than we do, okay? That's all it is, bro. You're not less than anybody. I have met people. Listen, I work for people in government. And listen, we all put our shoes on the same way, man. But understand something. The mind, it's got that tactical advantage, man. Our mind talks
Yeah.
to us. It knows our weaknesses. It knows our soft spots, our vulnerabilities. It knows what stresses us, what doesn't. And sometimes you just can't be listening to that motherfucker. Sometimes you just gotta just do and not think. You know.
Right.
So when we
I,
do that,
I,
don't beat yourself up,
I,
bro.
no, no, no. I know that if I move a muscle, that means get up off my ass and do something. The thought will go away. And, but yeah, I mean, anytime I have these recurring thoughts that dominate my thinking, I have tools to help me. And I realize that they'll probably be with me the rest of my life, but it doesn't mean I have to be a victim. And I'm not a victim. Don't anyone ever tell me that,
including
because
yourself,
I'm just
right?
like
Good.
everybody else. I'm not a
Absolutely.
victim. No,
Absolutely not.
I'm not a victim. I just recognized what's wrong with me and moved on with that. I made a decision to do things differently, and
You know,
it wasn't an
and
easy thing.
there's a salvation behind acceptance. Okay, we have to accept the nature of whom we are. If you live life, in a second persona, then you ultimately become that second persona, and that's a dangerous place to be, because God knows what is in your heart. You know who you really are. Okay, and so the key is really, accepting, who we are. And so going back to, Jimmy for a second, and the platform and so forth. The unique thing about, this particular platform, is that it is led by a person who, came to us all with self-confessed defects of character. I mean, there's no question about that. He wears them on his sleeve for everybody to see, because he's not ashamed of them, and has moved off of that and gone forward, in his life. Um, and that's why I've always called him the Calandra, the comeback kid. It's an amazing
Yeah.
story, just an amazing story.
Yes.
It's one of a kind. And it's the worst story. You know why? Because it's his. God bless you.
Yeah.
He owns it. He did fucking days and nights. I sit there and I think about it, I'm like, I would, because of my short temper, I would probably, go to jail for a speeding ticket and end up doing life for fucking stabbing somebody. I mean, that's my luck. That's how I roll. But this kind, he, I'm not trying to. I'm going to use your term, Jimmy. I'm not throwing bouquets at you, but the truth of the matter is, man, this dude went through some shit, and he's got two
Right.
kids, and he's out there grinding, and he's thinking, and he's moving, and he's moving forward. So they can't tug at his ankles. He's not motivated. He's driven.
Right.
Hey, Eddie G.
Right.
Eddie
What up?
G. The other day, I had a 45-minute conversation with a cop and got myself out of a ticket. The ironic thing is, the cop wasn't even there.
Oh shit!
I was gonna say, what cop stopped you?
I love it.
No cop. I'm just talking.
There you
I
go.
wouldn't waste my time talking to somebody for 45
Are,
minutes.
are you hanging out with Don?
Get the hell out of here, leave.
Same
I
room
want
with
to go
Don?
eat.
What's going on here?
I got better things to do than issue tickets. I
Oh,
gotta get back to sleep.
I want to say, guys, to all of you, thanks for the kind words. It means a lot to me. And look, when I created this platform, I came on here. I wanted to tell my story, and you know what? I didn't know where I was going to go with this platform. I didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. Then all of a sudden, I said, let me start going live. Let me have other guys come on here and start telling their story, because you know what? I'm telling my story, so I also want to hear other people's stories too. What's going on in other people's lives. And you know what? I figured by me creating this, you know what? I'm networking with other people. I know I'm going to meet a lot of good people. And that's what I did. Look at you guys. Look, I'm networking with you guys. Now Steven came in. Now we're networking with him. Another good guy. So you know what? I mean, look, this is a platform where I'm giving out positives, and I'm getting positives back. So as far as these other people beating me, it's impossible. I'm never ever gonna let them win. Look,
That's not gonna happen.
whatever I did in my life, look, I stand on. I know it wasn't the right thing, but every day I'm gonna make my crooked path right. You could throw it at me, you could tell me I did this, I did that. You know what? But I'm not that guy anymore.
Amen.
There you go.
Like you said, I got 2 kids now. I focus on them. I focus on my life. I want to be successful. I want to watch them grow. I want to give to them. I'm not going to be here forever. There's a beginning, there's an end, and I'm going to have an ending too. And I want it to be a good one.
There you go.
Amen. Father Time is
Well,
undefeated, brother.
Yeah, and when God created this whole story, He created it with with a very, very narrow deck of cards, okay? And he dealt us all a hand, and it's very finite. It only goes for so long, and then that's it. You're over. You make the best of it, and you don't look back. I have always, I made many mistakes in my life. God bless, and as everybody here has, because we're all human. But at the end of the day, I've always lived my life looking forward. I don't live in a rearview mirror. I don't, and I won't. And I don't allow what other people might say define me. And that's what I hear Jimmy's message is I don't let other people define me. I define myself.
Yeah. Well, do you ever ask yourself the question, you look back in your past when you were going through some major bullshit and you're asking yourself, but realistically, you're asking God, why?
Right.
Why am I going through this? Why? Did you ever think it was because someday it's going to help you, the experiences, the trials, the tribulations you went through, it's going to help you to help someone else who's going to be going through the same thing years later? And that's what ends up happening. The stuff that you experienced years ago, you maybe at the time may have been scratching your head going, I don't get it. Why? Why am I going through this? Why did I do this to myself? I destroyed my life. No, you didn't. God had a plan for you. You see the immediate, but he sees all the way to the end. And he knows that he's going to take you and he's going to put you in a different place. And he's going to put you in a position where you're going to use all that bad stuff. You're going to turn it around and you're going to make it for good. Only God can turn a tragedy into a miracle. Only God. Okay. And that's what's happening with you. Take tragedy and turns it into a miracle. And that's what's going on in your life today, because the transformation is miraculous. It's nothing short of miraculous.
It is true. It's true.
It ain't natural. It's supernatural.
Yeah.
Failure is a stepping stone to success. And that's the truth. That's what I've learned through my bitter experience. And sometimes I had to get that lesson a couple times in different venues of life, whether it be here, there, or anywhere. But in the business that I'm trying to pursue, I get rejected all the time. That means I'm just closer to my next gig, my next opportunity.
What are you doing?
And I'm in the entertainment business. I'm acting.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's a joke. So I became a comedian.
Well, that's good though. That's good. Hey, go for it, man.
It's not. Here's my thing. I just say that we're all human. We forget that we're human sometimes. Yeah. And even the guy on the cross said, "Why me?"
Yeah.
So why not? I say why not me these days?
Yeah, amen. We all have a cross to bear.
You know what I say? I say for those people who are the whiners and complainers, get off the cross. Somebody else needs the wood. Okay.
Yeah, when I used to say why me, people would look at me and say, "Why not? Better you than me."
I just want to. I got to bail here because I got to be on the base tomorrow morning at 0400, and I got to get myself ready. But I just want to thank Jimmy once again and what have you. And I just want to leave with this one thought, and it goes back to what Gerard was talking about, but also more importantly, it's what Jimmy and Eddie G touched on, and that is, what are we really talking about regarding today? What is really at stake for Memorial Day? And that is the people who were left behind, the people to whom did not come home, the people who served, gave their lives for this nation, for their families, for their friends, for their loved ones, and never returned. The people who did return and died on the battlefield of life because life was just unfair and was too difficult for them. The people that died in the hands of others because unfortunately they couldn't hold up themselves. God bless each and every one of them. this day and forever.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well said,
And
Don.
so, with that, I gotta bounce. But Gerard, I'll be talking to you soon. God bless you. And
God bless you, Don.
Eddie G, you're my favorite. You know that. And Steve, it is good meeting you as well.
It was good
Jimmy,
meeting you.
thank you, Jimmy. You take care of yourself. Take care of your kids. Don't eat too much ice cream. That ice cream
Yeah.
you sent looked delicious.
And Don, thank you so much. And tell Colonel Edward Relay I appreciate it very much.
I will. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.
God bless. Thanks,
Roger
Don.
that.
Bye, Don.
That was a little heavy.
I got to ask you a question, Ed. When you were talking before about the divisiveness, I got to believe, and from what I've seen, our government is doing a great job of promoting divisiveness. Both sides of the house. I mean, they really seem to. I almost think sometimes we have Democrats and Republicans just to pit people
One
against each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just keep mad at each other. And meanwhile, they're sitting back laughing. Because they're all on the same page. They all sing from the same sheet of music.
It's the WWF. That's what they are. Good guys, bad guys, and behind the stage, they're drinking beers, slapping five. Hey, let's talk about something very serious now. Nancy Pelosi's husband got locked up for a DUI.
What?
Did you know that? Yeah, in Napa Valley.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this always gets my funny bone tickling, and I'm saying to myself now, he just made $40 billion during the pandemic with his Amazon options and whatnot. He must be a cheap bastard. He can't call an Uber. He doesn't have a limo driver.
Oh my goodness!
I used to say that. How do you now? Let's see if he gets prosecuted like other people who have DUIs. Let's see if that happens.
It's not going to happen. It's not.
Fuck out of here.
I just don't think so.
That's what's wrong with the country. Understand? Someone like that will get a pass. He's not accountable for his actions.
Above the law.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
That's what's wrong with the country.
Jimmy, I'll tell you this, even from when I used to work drugs. You take an investigation, and here's how an investigation could start. You start with, obviously, somebody gets busted, and they can't afford to do another. They can't afford to do another term in jail. They're looking at doing felony time. They're looking at doing a minimum 5-year bid, whatever. So okay, they get somebody up, and you start to work your way up the ladder, and everything's going great until you get to a certain point, and you're told, and you've already got everything outlined. You know who Mr. Big is. You're working your way towards him, but for some strange reason, before you get to Mr. Big, you're told your investigation is officially concluded. Nice job, guys. You're all finished. Shut it down. No, wait a second. We still got to get, no, guys. Nice job. You're shutting it down. Gee, you don't think Mr. Big, by any chance, might be greasing some judges, might be greasing some high-level police officers, might be You think maybe somebody's getting greased? And that's why the investigation gets shut down. If I had a nickel for every time that happened, I'd be a millionaire.
That's crazy.
The corruption, even on a local level, is unbelievable. So I can only imagine what it's like in Washington, D.C. with those guys. They're untouchable. And the only time they're touchable, it seems like, is when they suddenly decide not to play ball or play nice in the sandbox with their cohorts. Then something will happen to them.
They hang them out to dry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I have family that were in law enforcement and that were in politics, and I happen to have a personal experience. I worked for somebody in a high government office at one time, with one of his assistants. And the funny story he told me was that he was driving on the highway. He's pulled over by a trooper. This guy doesn't even have a license on him. He hands the trooper his fucking debit card. The guy sees his last name. He goes, "Any relation?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my father." Go ahead. Okay, that happens to all of us.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Flash your pen, you get away with a slap on the wrist. But this was the all-time power move that I was jealous of. He's getting ready to go on vacation. And at the last minute, the guy has money. And his family has money. In the last minute, in order for him to get on the plane to go where he's going, to travel outside the U.S., he needs his identification. He needs his driver's license. He doesn't have his passport. But where he's going, all you have to do is show your license. So he goes to the DMV, stands online like a regular Joe, and you know how the DMV is. No 6 points, get out. He calls his father up. He tells his dad what happened. He's like, we're going away tomorrow morning. Stay right in front of that DMV. All of a sudden, a trooper comes up, scrambled eggs, the whole 9 yards. He marches the kid past all the lines. The trooper walks around the corner, says to the lady, point blank, give him his license.
Yeah.
I think he was like, he got his license. I'm like, man, you know what? I fucking love that move. I wish the hell I could have done that a couple times, you know?
I never, when I was on the job, stood in line at DMV. I walked into the back office, and whatever I needed is what I got. And I walked out the back door. I never stood in line at DMV.
But
I was going down to
understand
Tennessee
that
one
shit,
time. I was going 100, I think, 100 or 105 in a 55 or 60. Got pulled over, and it was a trooper or sergeant or somebody like that. Came up to the car. I said, hey, I just want to let you know something, officer. I says, I'm on the job. I said, I got a loaded 9mm in the center console of this vehicle. I said, I'm on my way. I forget where the heck I was going. And he looked at me, he says, have a nice day. Turned around and walked away. He didn't even bother to check and see, show me your badge, show me your credentials, and I told the guy, I got a loaded gun in the center console of my car. He didn't even say, hey, could you exit the vehicle? Keep your hands where I can see them. I could have pulled the gun out and shot. I mean, I'm going, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, it's professional courtesy, but guy, have a little officer safety, all right? You don't know who the hell you're talking to. I didn't show you anything to prove I was a cop. I just told you I'm on the job up in New York. That's all I told you. But, you know, that's another world. And, you know, like I said, he was on one side of the law, I was on the other side of the law, but I'm telling you right now, I could sit here and tell you story after story after story of on the job, and you can very easily pass from black and white to what we call playing in the gray to being flat out criminal with a badge.
Well, yeah, there's some unwritten rules and some. I mean, we all have unwritten rules, even on the street. If you're one of these pedophiles or child molesters, even in jail, they take care. They call them tree jumpers. Yeah. They fucking take care of them.
Yeah.
And in certain things, you know what? If you live around the corner, my grandfather, he used to hang out in a saloon or whatever, and he used to play cards with all the cops in the precinct. He'd bring over a bottle back in the day, play cards with them. He wouldn't call a fucking cab. He'd call one of the squad cars to fucking take him home.
Yeah.
And times have changed. I mean, you had that guy on, Joe, the lawyer, Jimmy, Joe Murray. Think about that. I'm saying to myself, I'm listening to this guy talk. I'm like,
yeah, I heard that story.
He did the right thing. He approached the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy was a fucking jerk off.
Yeah, that was totally.
So
I heard that story. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. We're all on the same team. Hey, the guy got a little money, tried to get bad or whatever. Hey, you got your lights punched out. You know, you would have just told the dude, all right, come on, man, you got to go. you got to go, all right? And you would have told the detective, if he had said, well, I'm going to sue, I'm going to do this, you're not going to do anything. All right, you're not going to do anything. You were running your mouth, you were selling tickets. You got your lights.
Hard on for him, boy.
That's right. You got your lights punched out.
Hey, guys,
come on.
Can I read something?
There was a man-to-man, face-to-face deal. You ain't doing shit.
Can I read this, please? See, guys, give me a second. This is actually a line from Joe Murray, who told a great story if you haven't listened to the podcast. In all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and then going to and returning from the same. That refers to politicians.
Where was it coming from?
The U.S. Constitution, it's coming from the great Joe Murray. It's the U.S. Constitution.
No, where was it? Are you saying that in reference to Pelosi's husband?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think what Joe is stating is that
He's talking about Congress.
I'd like to get Joe on here. He's smarter than me. Congress is immune from arrest in the Constitution when they are in session.
Let's see if Joe will come on. Joe, would you come on for 5 minutes? Just hit the link. It's in the chat. If you can do that, just come on for 5 minutes. I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you. Let's see if Joe could come on.
Now, I said to myself, the guy who locked up Pelosi's husband, he had to be a fucking conservative for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. His career's over, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely right.
As a
Exactly.
matter of fact, I'm sure he's already arrested for something.
He'll be downloading kitty porn on his phone.
I was just gonna say. Kitty porn's already out.
He's saying I.S.
Section 6. Congress is immune from arrest. That means they can't get arrested. They're immune.
I don't know what I.S. means, though.
They're immune from COVID, too, I think, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's why they never wore their masks. Yeah, but the husband, he was not in Congress though, so this doesn't pertain to him.
That loophole doesn't work for him.
No,
Just like the loophole didn't, they just changed it that Congress doesn't have to show their trades anymore.
right.
People used to track Nancy Pelosi's husband's trades on Wall Street
Yeah,
and piggyback them to make the money she was making.
right.
They just finished that. They got wind of it and they shut it down. She's got the inside track. She's going to pass it. I mean, this is old shit that's been going on for years. People think this is new, but they did it to a new level.
You remember Abscam?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh man,
Yes,
what a joke Abscam was. They had to shut the thing down after like several weeks. They had so many congressmen and senators trying to jump on board to get greased that they went back and told the director of the FBI, if we lock everybody up who's jumping on board, we ain't going to have anybody left in Washington. So they shut the operation down.
Frank Sheeran, you remember, Jimmy, you were in The Irishman, you did that
Frank
movie.
Sheeran, yeah.
Frank Sheeran, in a book, was just cited that Joe Biden, back in the 70s, was courting Frank Sheeran for favors for the union vote. Isn't that some fucking shit?
Oh, I don't find that hard to believe at all.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not
I
at
don't
all.
find that hard to believe at all.
The mob used to put their people as union delegates, and that's how they control the unions. So all the government's done is put their people in the head. They took a page out of the mob, and they put the teachers union. They got people here. That's what they did.
Yeah. Well, I tell people all the time, Donald Trump, whether you like him or you don't like him, him becoming president of the United States was like some guy walking in off the street and telling the Gambino family, I'm in charge now. No. You ain't one of us. You haven't proven yourself.
Outside.
You haven't gotten dirtied up. Okay. Yeah. And that's the way they looked at Trump. That's why the Republicans hated him and the Democrats hated him. You are not one of us.
And that's why the Democrats stole the election.
Yep. But the Republicans held their hands in the very end when Trump wanted the electoral count, the vote count reviewed, and Republican and Democrat alike said, no. We stand by the vote. Yeah. And because they wanted to get rid of him because he's not one of the boys.
I watched that 2000 Mules. That was some movie.
Yeah. So, when you want to talk about a mafia, well, there's one in Washington. Go take a look at them. They're one of the best mafias there are.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. You're not going to change it. It's too late. It's too late, and every great empire at some point has to fall. Rome fell, Greece fell, Persia fell, Egypt fell. All of them fell eventually, and they all fell from within. And
that's what's going on.
Bingo, Jimmy. That's what's going on now. You're 100%.
Yep.
You know what Khrushchev said years ago, right after the war, and there was, the Cold War started, and somebody asked Khrushchev, do you think you could actually defeat the United States of America in a war? He said, we could never defeat them in a standard or a typical war. He goes, the way you defeat America is from within. He goes, the very freedoms that they have in that country can be used against them to corrupt them and cause them to collapse. He goes, that's how you defeat America. You defeat them from within.
That's what I was referring to before. Like, we have to be united. We can't just pick the Giants and the Jets and go at each other. We got to say, they love that shit. Divided, united we stand, divided we fall.
But how many people do you know, honestly, Eddie? How many people do you know, honestly, that don't take the Democrat or the Republican stand and talk like you do or talk like I do? That, come on. That's a joke.
I'm like Jimmy in a sense. I call bullshit when I smell it.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the right or the left.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm not a registered anything. The reason I tell people I voted for Trump, I said it's because he's the first non-politician to ever run. He was a businessman. That's what he is. And a pragmatist. And I said, you know what? Okay, I'll give him a chance. But I never voted in elections. And I always believed elections were rigged. I mean, heck, we know for a fact, back into Kennedy and Nixon, it was a rigged election. It's public knowledge now.
Lyndon Johnson stole an election to become a senator.
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I'm like one of these OCD history
He teaches
nuts.
the Clintons how to be dirty. I mean, he could give lessons to anybody. Lyndon Johnson was feared. People actually believed he was insane.
Wait a second. I think this is Colonel Ed Ryle.
That is Colonel Ed. That's Colonel Ed Riley. Colonel Ed Riley, thank you for that video yesterday. I appreciate it.
Happy Memorial Day, so I think.
Yes, that's what you
Colonel
said.
Ed want to come on? I'm ready to get off, Jimmy, and make room for somebody else, if you don't mind.
That's
I
fine.
just wanted to say hello to everybody. It's nice meeting you, Stephen, Eddie G, and everybody else. I'm gonna get out of here so that someone else can Jimmy can jump on. Okay.
You don't have to leave, Gerard. Gerard, you don't have to leave.
I don't have to leave. Oh, okay.
No, you don't have to
maybe
leave.
Somebody else. I don't.
No, you don't
okay.
have to leave. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, stay. I'm gonna stay another 20.
Is it pronounced Ed Riley? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes, Ed
okay,
Riley.
I apologize, Colonel.
Colonel's a big rank.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
That's a big jump. You got to have some major juice to get up to Colonel.
Yeah, you gotta. That's another level.
Yeah. You pretty much when I was in the Guinea ranks were second lieutenant, first lieutenant, and captain. If you kept your nose clean, you could get those ranks.
Yep.
Then the next to get to major, took some juice. Lieutenant colonel, again, you really had to have your shit together. But then to go to full bird, you gotta have some major juice. And then to get into
wartime, they used to bump you up.
Yeah.
That was the only way you can get up there.
And then to get into the general ranks, you gotta have juice in Washington. You gotta have a horse in Washington, or you're not gonna get a star.
That's funny, Stephen. When I was in the 1-9, I don't think I ever saw a general.
When I was in Beirut, my commanding general came to visit us, and he was one tough dude. I mean, he came up through the ranks. He was in Korea. He was in Vietnam.
What was his name?
Major General Al Gray. His name was.
Oh, I know Al Gray. Sure, I know Al.
He was one. Yeah. He was a bad dude. He was legitimate. He did his share of fighting. Like I said, he was a second lieutenant. He was an enlisted man in Korea, and then he was an officer in Vietnam.
Yes.
And he had his share of fruit salad on his shirt there. So did my sergeant major. My sergeant major had every medal you could think of except a Medal of Honor. But he was the nicest guy in the world. But I'll tell you what, hey, one bad dude. I got a hold of his personnel folder one time and looked through it because they have to write the commendation out when you get a medal. They have to write out what it is you did. And this guy, you would have thought you were reading a Sergeant Rock or Our Army at War comic book or something when you read what this guy did. And my lieutenant colonel on Paris Island was a Medal of Honor winner, and they had a
What was
plaque.
his name?
They had a
What was
plaque
his
inside the barracks with the
What's
story
his
of what he did.
Hmm.
He killed at least 20 or 30 people barehanded.
Yeah,
Killed
but what was his
them,
name?
whatever, with an e-tool, with a shovel, just chopping and hacking them. Then was taking other
What-
guys' weapons and killing. I mean, he defeated literally an NVA regiment or whatever. It was just ridiculous. I don't remember the exact story. But you read it, you're going, it's not possible. One human being could not do that. He did. I mean, he was all scarred up and everything. And we were recruits. We were not allowed to look at him when he walked by because we were told, put your heads down because you're not worthy to look at that guy.
What was his name? Barney Barnum or Wesley Fox? That ring a bell?
No. It was Lieutenant Colonel Gerlach.
Gerlach. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gerlach.
I know him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were not even allowed to look at him. We were told, put your heads down. You're not worthy to look at a guy like that. And I remember just kind of glancing up from the ground to look at him. And man, this guy, he was still out there PTing and doing what he had to do. But man, he had shrapnel scars all over his legs, his arms. I mean, you're talking about one bad dude. And there were a number of them because you got to remember, I came in '82. Vietnam ended in '75. So a lot of the senior staff NCOs, they were all non-veterans. And these guys, a lot of these guys, they had done 3-4 tours. I mean, they actually enjoyed going to Vietnam. Man, you just wanted to keep your distance from some of these guys because there's no telling. They were drunk 24/7.
Hey, hold up, guys. I got Ed Riley over here. Colonel Ed Riley. He's coming in. He's coming in, Gerard.
All right.
Colonel, how are you?
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, guys.
How's
Hey,
everything?
what's going on?
What, how are you?
Good, good.
Hey, thank you so much for that video. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I think it was time well spent.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
So,
It
Hello,
was done
Colonel.
well.
yeah. Well, Don did the script and the voiceover. He's got the voice for radio. So, we put some pictures behind, and it turned out pretty well. It's a nice tribute to everybody that has to do these kinds of things. I really enjoyed doing it.
Sir, what's the piece behind you on the wall? What is that?
It's 1854 Tower musket from Afghanistan.
Wow.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's probably fake, the Packies put that stuff together and sell it off just like everybody else does. But it still makes a good showpiece.
You got a good deal on it.
Yeah. It was a going away present,
Ah, okay. All right. So what do you got in your collection? Do you have anything decent?
I got a couple items. I don't have them around. A couple things, you do 20 some years, 20 whatever, and you pick pieces up. Like I've got all 6 base plates from the BO 105s that were on the cannons in Haiti when we went into Haiti in, I guess, 96, 95.
Nice.
So there's all these base plates I took off and I handed out to my friends over the years.
Yeah, they're nice and light.
Nice momentum. Just take a little base plate with you. It's good to have it. And the thing that I like the most, I don't know, show you this. I haven't finished it yet, but there's an AK-47 strap from Desert Storm that we took off some Iraqi rifles, and I'm going to turn this into a dog collar for my dog Rufus.
There you
You know,
go.
sir, I got to be honest with you. I like AK-47s. I mean, I know I shouldn't say that because it's a Chinese-made weapon, but I do like an AK-47. I mean, a 7.62 round has got some power to it, but I know it doesn't have as much accuracy as the 5.56. And but I do like AKs.
No, it's great for what it does, but this is going to be an awesome dog collar for
Yes, I
Puppy.
understand. I understand completely.
I've been wanting to do that for 30 some years, 31 years.
That's apropos, Colonel.
I'm sure
So
the
we'll
previous
see.
owner isn't going to miss it. It's no big deal.
I might have his diary too, so I doubt it. Yeah,
I have a feeling he's no longer with us.
it was tough all around. We collect a lot of stuff here and there, and there's never enough room for it, and you hang on to as best you can, and it memorizes or memorializes the guys didn't come back. So,
Yeah.
Amen to them. And welcome home, Colonel.
well, I've been out for some time, so
Okay.
it's good. And
When did you get out, sir?
2014.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so it's been a while. And
How many years did you do all told?
29.
20.
I was
All
I
right.
was going to make a career out of it, but it just has time to go.
Yeah. 29. I mean, you were just sticking your toe in the water to test the temperature. You
Just
didn't,
checking
really
it out.
you didn't really give it a chance, but
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
good.
I was listening to y'all talking. I don't want to take the conversation because I really appreciate that, but I just want to say one thing, if I can, about Memorial Day. And there's like three parts to it for me. And the first part is the tradition and the trajectory of men and women in the United States have served since June 14th, 1775. And, 1.3 million didn't come home over the years, over half of those in the American Civil War, pretty much.
Yep.
But I think everybody in this room, and I think there's some 90 in the chat room or whatever, but everybody here, they appreciate it and they know that there's a little debt there, and that's a big deal. So I see it in two other ways too. I on a personal level, for these guys, I think of a 21-year-old private, and the kid's name was Clarence Cash, and they called him Clarence Johnny Cash, and he was a scout in a tank battalion, and Clarence was killed in his Bradley fighting vehicle. And the thing that's something about Clarence is he had a wife and kid. He's 21 years old. He has a baby, and he was told not to show up, not to go, and he couldn't not go because American soldiers, they don't do that. They just don't. They don't shirk like that. They don't back off. They show up. All military. And then I think about it in a third bin, if you will. And I expand the aperture beyond the military, because this Memorial Day today, and you guys talked about divisiveness in this country, in a country that's so divided, we have to be inclusive. And I include in my Memorial Day law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, every person that is a first responder.
Yeah.
They're all dedicated the same way as any soldier, sailor, airman, Marine. They all put their boots on, they put their uniforms on. And although they don't ever dwell on this kind of stuff, they know that they might not come home. They all know that, but they still do it. And when they go in, these guys run to the sound of the guns every time, and they do it with duty calls. And that's kind of what Memorial Day means to me. And I'm just glad I had a few seconds to share that with y'all.
Roger that.
1,000% correct, sir. I couldn't agree with you more. 1,000% correct.
Colonel, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it.
No, I left a Memorial Day service, and I wanted to get home and talk to y'all and just see it, because it's been, we started this a couple of days ago and went pretty fast, but it's a nice tribute. And I appreciate Jimmy using your platform and having you share that message with everybody. So
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, you're welcome. And listen, I love doing this. I love having the people come in and give their point on things, and meeting new people. I mean, this is all new to me, this stuff, and I'm going to continue to do it, and I love it. I really do. I love meeting someone like you, a colonel. I mean, listen, I never met a colonel. Look, I'm talking to a colonel. This is awesome for me.
Well, there's plenty of them out there, Jimmy. They just didn't know when to quit.
Well, that's the thing, But I'm fortunate to have you in my chat and to learn from you. So thank you for coming in here.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. And I'll let you guys go, and I'll listen in on the side.
Thank you, Ed.
Nice
Okay,
meeting
now.
you, sir.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. That was pretty cool,
Yeah.
The video he did was pretty cool too, because the video was inclusive. It had so many subliminal messages behind it as well. If you were paying attention, not just to what Don was saying, just the visuals and what's it all about, what's going on. It was a nice hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say to him when Jimmy said, I'm meeting a colonel for the first time. I said, I was going to say, you didn't want to meet a colonel when I was in, because if you did, you're in a world of shit, man.
I only met fucking Colonel Sanders.
You want to keep your distance from the colonel.
Yeah, no. If you
Yeah.
were going to meet the colonel, you were probably your next step was the brig.
That's what I'm sure. Look, I'm sure he's a scary guy, you know.
They used to always have this saying when I was when you were in trouble, they would look at you and go, you fuck up again, you're going to see the man. You understand me? I'm going to have you in front of the man. But they never told you who the man was. I never met the man. I just kept getting threatened with him. They always used to use that term. You want to see the man? Do you want to be in front of the man? And of course, you're like, oh, no, sir. No, sir. And you're in your mind, you're thinking, who the fuck is the man? Who is he? Could you name him?
Yeah, I actually saw the man. I got in trouble when I was in the military. Okay. I was one of those guys.
Yeah, I want to say, Joe Murray, thank you for that $49.99. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. You didn't have to do that, but thank you.
Live and let live. How are you?
Yeah, guys. So listen, we're on here for 2 hours. Stephen, I really appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for all your, input, and I hope you come back again.
Well, I was just going to say thank you for having me on, Jimmy. I appreciate it. I hope you let me come back on.
Oh, absolutely.
And, if I could just do a quick plug I started a YouTube channel called the Southside Social Club, and what it is, it's a channel that's just all it's for the alpha male, all things that men enjoy doing. We'll be going to gun shows. We'll be going to different restaurants because guys enjoy eating. I just did a thing on the Tampa Mafia up in Ybor City, Santo Traficante, and that whole group up there. I take you on a walking tour. I'm just starting to post my videos, but I'm also going to do some harebrained shit. I'll be rappelling like I did. I'm going to do another jump out of an airplane like I used to do when I was in the Corps. So, just please give it a chance. Right now it's very amateurish, but hopefully it'll get better. Maybe Jimmy can give me some lessons because I've noticed his stuff is improving 1,000% every day. And right now, I'm looking at some of my stuff and going, I don't know if anybody really wants to watch this crap.
Can I say something, Jimmy?
Sure, go ahead.
Jimmy?
Yes.
I have Jimmy's my inspiration, but my channel will have nothing to do with mobsters or any of that stuff. I have a small channel. I titled it Spin Move Gerard, but I think if you just Google Gerard, not Google or look it up on whatever, YouTube. I'm doing 2 things right now. I have telescopes that I'm starting to put up there, because that's my nerd hobby. And that is really a refreshing thing to do. But I'm also going to be posting, I posted one on a veteran that was killed in Korea. And his tombstone is right out by my house here. And my friend did a video interview of my father-in-law, who was actually in the war in Korea. And my other friend's gonna, edit it, and then he's gonna send it to me, and then I'll upload that to the channel too. So here's a man, when you listen to his interview, he talks a lot, but absolutely says nothing. And that's typical of a person who's been in some severe combat.
Can I say something too, Jim?
Sure.
Anybody who watches this video live or watches it later on, hit like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Without that it doesn't really work. It doesn't cost you nothing. So if you enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe to Jimmy's channel.
Stephen, I forgot to name your channel already. I'm sorry.
Southside Social Club.
Southside Social Club.
Southside
Social Club.
And Gerard, your channel's what? Just Gerard?
I don't know yet. I got Spin Move Gerard on there, but I don't know if that's how you find it because I'm not a technical guy, or maybe if you just type in Gerard Gerard. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm
but
a YouTube
the
boy.
title of my
The
channel is
channel's gotta have a
supposed to
name.
be it's supposed to be Spin Move Gerard, but
What is
it's
it?
in like little Spin Move Gerard.
Spin move?
Yeah,
Okay.
Spin Move Gerard. I can't think of anything brilliant yet, so I use Spin Move Gerard, which is meaningless.
Okay.
I got my
But
wife looking it up.
I don't know if you type in Gerard Gerard on YouTube or Spin Move Gerard. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'll figure it out though some year.
My
Live in
wife
that
said
live.
she put that in, and everything's coming back to hockey players. I don't-
Spin move Gerard.
Spin move Gerard. I'm thinking, how many times I got to tell you? Yeah, she says it just
No,
comes
Maybe you
back.
should Gerard, maybe I'll help you out with a name. How about something like "Come Fly with Me"?
He
I
got a
don't know,
talk
that's
to
a little-
graffiti mouth with spin move, like a b-boy, like a breakdancer. Spin move. Is that what you were getting at, Gerard?
Oh, is that what it is?
No, one of the videos on there
Let's try
is
it.
Spin Move
Yeah.
Juno, my bulldog. She does spin moves when she's chasing the other dog around the yard.
Gerard,
But,
Gerard. The reason why I tell you is because a title is very important. You know, you want to make sure when they punch in that title that it goes directly to your channel. You know, not 1,000 channels.
Okay, I'll have to think about that, Jimmy.
Yeah, so yeah, you have to come out with a little better name than that.
Okay.
You know, something that you like to look into the telescope, into the moon, right, and look at the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something like "Come Fly with Me" or something.
It's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure it out. But they only give you 3 chances to change the title in 1 month. And I think I've already used up my 3 chances, so I might have to wait.
Shut the channel down, start a new one. Then you get 3 more chances.
Ah!
I'll tell you.
Hey,
Gerard,
that's too much
look,
work.
Gerard, I'm very happy that you didn't off yourself 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I would never had the opportunity of meeting you. And you know what? Listen, you're a fine guy. You know what? Listen, I got to love you, and you're very educated. So you know what? You're teaching me something. So thank God you're here. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're a good man, Gerard. Don't forget that.
You are. You're a good man.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, anything else you want to promote?
No.
Okay. Well, listen.
I just want to say everybody's cool.
Well, listen, guys. Look, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Everyone have a great night.
Nice meeting you, Steve.
I hope I see you.
Nice meeting you, Eddie.
Yeah,
Nice meeting you, Gerard. And Jimmy, thank you.
Nice meeting you, Stephen.
Stephen, it was a pleasure. Thanks for showing up.
All right, man. I'll see you around.
Absolutely.
I'll see you soon.
Okay, guys.
Peace out.
Everybody have a good night.
Okay, Gerard.
Everybody have it.
Eddie G, I'll see you soon. Thanks for showing up. To all the people in the chat, thank you so much for coming. It was a great chat. I had a lot of good people on here, good people in the chat. It means a lot to me. Colonel Edward Relay, thank you. Southside Social Club, check them out. Gerard, hopefully he picks a better name than Spin Move Gerard. It sounds like, I don't know. Don't sound like a channel, but hopefully he fixes that up. I want to thank Joe Murray for the $49.99. Very kind of you. Good night, Joe. And Ryan Brown, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you so much. You don't have to do it. I appreciate it. And all you people out there, live and let live. Peter Miller, Dino G, Boston J. Everyone's showing up. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Until my next video, I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys. You guys are the best supporters, the best family I can have. That said, everyone, I'll see you on my next video. I love you guys. Bye, guys.
The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.